It seems there's a lot of light here. I'm trying to go live with a video, and I don't know how clear this is. It's a bit too light. Let me just change the visibility. There's actually too much light, so I don't know. Let me get to see what to do. Agripina, light hapa inazima wapi? Light hapa inazima na wapi? Hebu acha niita hata. It's too light. Sasa aga light hapa inazima na wapi? Iko too light in a way that nikinini naona si inatoa very pale images. Alright, so I was just trying to see how to make sure that my video is a bit clear. I don't know, there's a lot of reflection, right? Light reflection. I can't be sure that my notes will be clear on the screen. How are you? The audience in India, how are you doing? What about South Africa? Nancy K said hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. And we are going to the 5th story from the grade 8, 6 and 7 storybook. Bridges without rivers. So Nancy, how are you? Where are you exactly? It's very important to interact with the audience who follow you every time. And when you have chats with them, you know that you're having the facial aspect with them. So there's a lot of reflection today. I don't know what's happening. I always do my lives from here, but today it has been a different day. Whatever I'm trying to do, I actually realized that there's a lot of reflection that is not giving me the quality I want. So hi, where are you set? Yeah, so I don't know whether to proceed this video, the live, or maybe change my setting because I can see that it's a bit light here. I'm good, dear. I'm from Embu. I love what you do. Thank you so much. I'm appreciative. Maybe you can share about what kind of work do you do, and maybe unlike me who does teaching, what do you do? I do teaching, and of course writing is my hustle. Academic writing for the Americans, and now there is this writing books and creating content, different YouTube channels, but I'm just trying to struggle here and there. Of course, in this one, I do more of reactions and educative and entertainment. Nancy, do you have a YouTube? You know, I really love to support those who are supporting me. Do you have a YouTube channel maybe? Are you on TikTok, maybe Facebook professional? All right, I'm a teacher by profession, but I do business. I like that. Yeah, in Kenya, without business, you can't survive. You just have to multitask because if you're there and you are only in class, sometimes the salary is a drop. Okay, you can share maybe your YouTube channel so that I'll be subscribing to it. You know, supporting each other and growing together is the best thing ever. Once you support those who have YouTube channels and they support you, grow together, and sometimes you encourage those who are subscribing to your channel to do the subscription on theirs, and that's the way to go. Yeah, so today I was focusing on doing thematic analysis of boys games by Gloria Mwaniga. Gloria Mwaniga has done a lot of books, and some of them are being done by high school students. But as for this one, it's being studied by grade 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, so let's get to the thematic aspects of this story. And I hope that those who are asking for these notes will be getting them from me right away. Now, the first thematic concern we get here is parental role, right? Parental role. Now, parental role comes on page 32, right? We see that mothers in this village, yeah, mothers often watch their children. I don't know, why is my screen coming dark, light? I don't like that today is streaming, but no worries. I just have to proceed because as long as I'm visible and the notes will be visible, I'll be proceeding. So on parental role, mothers often watch their children playing about, yeah, and sometimes they shout at them. They tell them to put on warm clothes so that they don't catch up with pneumonia, right? That is shared on page 32. Again, when we get to page 32, mothers forbid their children from playing on the road or by their gates. We have page 34. Mother to the narrator often tells her that she should behave as a girl. Apart from Nancy, there's somebody else who has come in. Can I say hi? Who are you? Maybe you can share as we go by. It's always important to recognize those who come on live. They are very important people. Yeah, so welcome on the live chat. As I proceed, we just proceed and share whatever you have. It's very essential. So the second thematic concern is peer influence or peer pressure. When you look at page 36 up to 37, after pursuing the lorry for a while, remember the kids? The rest of the kids coax and dare Omido and the narrator to climb up the lorry and to do that. We see that they gained that courage to do it. So of course they did it because of the peer pressure. So Omido jumps, followed by Willie, and they get on top of the lorry so that they can pull sugarcane and throw them to the rest of the kids. Yeah? Unfortunately, we see what happens in the process. So peer pressure is an aspect that affects a lot of kids. I don't know, as you watch this video as a kid, maybe, do you see such peer influence? Is there something you've done because your friends have told you to do? Because at that age, teenage and all that, most people do things because they are told to do, not because that's what they want to do. So let's get to page 32. On page 32, we see that sling, that is the kind of game whereby they could play with the catapult, right? It's a dangerous game because as they threw the catapult, it could hit the road and all that. But these kids went on doing it, including a girl that was in the group, just because of peer influence. The next thing we see is on page 32. The boys, challenge Mbone and tell her to go sit with the lonesome sister if she does not want to comply with their games. And of course, because she wants to be with them, she remains. We also see, page 32, that later at the beginning of what game they should have, they challenge each other on running and seeing who runs faster. They psych one another. And indeed, at the end of it, we see them on the road running up and down. Page 34 to 35, we realize that on discovering that the parents are not watching them, Mbone says they should run after the mtenga, right? And get some sugarcane and eat, some of which they will sell to the Mama Nina's kiosks and exchange for mandazi. So you can see these kids are sharing a lot and they're working through kind of influence, some sort of influence. The third theme is fate, pain, and suffering. Fate, pain, and suffering. So how do we see this in the text? When you check on page 32, what do you see? People queue for water from as early as 3 a.m. in the evening. That is a lot of suffering, right? We also see that in the process of jumping down from Mutenga, Willie is trapped. He triples on the rails of the lorry and comes down breaking a bone, right? That's a lot of pain and suffering. The narrator also shares that someone screamed, and she also screamed, yeah? And she was bawling. Do you know what bawling means? You know, you are gasping for air, you can't breathe, the stomach is loose and all that. We see on page 38 that Willie bleeds from the thigh, the groans, and loses conscience. On page 38, Mbone feels how the air thickens and is full in the sickly smell of blood. There's a lot of sickly smelly blood around him. Yeah? After Willie has encountered the accident. Again on page 38, what do we see? Mbone feels spasms of agony clutching her heart, and they do not let go, even when the mother is rebuking her. She's crying, right? It's out of pain and suffering. The next theme is farming. Of course, at high school level, we don't have such a theme, but at JSS, I've studied closely and I see that there is a theme of farming. The presence of sugarcane in the story proves that the society has been relying on sugarcane farming here. The next theme is trauma, the fifth. The air is thick, almost solid. I smell metal, dust, and blood. I vomit. I throw down the sugarcane I'm holding. A hand yanks me. Look at the, page 38 for that information. That is trauma, right? She is practically traumatized. Page 40. I suck in my breath. I spit out a little piece of sugarcane that got stuck in my teeth. Then I sit to embrace my knees with my arms. Two fists are pounding against my chest, and I cry because if I do not speak, the memory will live on in me. So that is exactly trauma. Whatever happens in this girl is trauma. The moment Miss Kanene talks about, no, that one is a different aspect. Huh? Yeah, so we have two evidence of trauma. And of course, when you read this story, you clearly see how this girl is traumatized. Theme 6, pollution. Pollution is prominent in this story, page 34. There was a horrible smell emitted from both the latrine and clogged trench where the kitchen waste is poured within the plot where this girl lived, the narrator. Page 31. We are up the pile, above the compost pit, filled with old brown beer bottles, above the plastic cans with peeling labels, above wet peels of sweet potatoes and bananas that have started decomposing. Are you getting that? It's actually pollution, right? Page 35. The children were running on a dirty road. So the author suggests here the aspect of pollution. As the children ran, they also raised a lot of dust, and the Mutenga spits a lot of smoke as it moves by the road. That's page 35. Theme number 7 is religion. Page 33. She has stopped praying for the landlady so that she has some mercy on the babies. I didn't allow the disturbance because I need to finish here first. So I've just declined the call. I hope the person will understand. Forgive me. Oh, the next is page 33. Women sit and gossip about those who fell down during the church service the previous Sunday. That is enough to suggest. Yeah, Nancy, we can talk after the live. It's okay, no problem. I've seen other people coming that they are not chatting. You know, just chatting to say hi is also necessary. Yeah, so on page 33, women sit and gossip about who fell down during church service and the previous Sunday. On page 40, I want to tell anyone, maybe the church women in the white frock. So the suggestion of the women in church, the suggestion of people falling in church, and the suggestion of children seeking and praying, that is important evidence to show religion. The next theme is gender disparities and expectations. Yeah, the bell always goes sometimes when I'm in the middle of this presentation, no worries. So gender disparities and expectations are shown in this story. Mbone does not have any cars because the girl is not supposed to own any car. The big ones belong to Willie in their game, right? Kiingu, Omido, and all that. Then we have, during the play, remember Mbone suggested that they play tapo. But if you can read the story very well, other kids tell her that she's a girl and she can suggest for them such a game that is for girls. That is page 32. Again, page 32, the narrator says sling is a boy's game. Page 39, the narrator knows about the accident, but she is told that being a girl, she should learn to shut up. Page 41, the mother of Mbone hisses at her for having refused to be a girl and playing dangerous games with boys. Then we have fathers leaving their home in the morning, whereas mothers remain at home to gossip, make their hair and such activities. So in your society, if you're watching this video, do we have these gender divisions, like specific roles for women and men? The last theme I'll be sharing here is gossip. Of course, in high school, we don't have such a theme, but I felt like it is a theme within the junior secondary level. Page 33, we see that women sit and gossip about who fell down in church service the previous Sunday. On page 34, some say how other women have black hearts and they did not fall because the Holy Spirit did not want to have them. That's page 34. Welcome on board. I can see more people coming. Feel welcome here, though I'm almost finishing. Page 33. If we can see that even kids, they also gossip, because they gossip about the sister Tumbone as a lonesome one who sits under the shade, and she will be soon going to secondary school, then university. So bye-bye for now. We will be meeting again in another live. I hope that I'll get a better setting so that the reflection is not too much. Today I've had a kind of pale one, but I'm attaching notes at the end because I always know it is necessary. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. I hope you've seen those notes on parental role, peer influence and pressure, fate, pain and suffering, farming, trauma, pollution, religion, gender disparities and expectations, and finally gossip. So bye-bye. I really appreciate those who came live. We'll be meeting again in another video.